Tony Meloto, hello. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you on this 8th Global Conference here at UNESCO. You were a keynote speaker yesterday to the opening of this Global. First of all, can you give me a word about Gawad Kalinga, please?
Gawad Kalinga is a development organization that started in the Philippines, but has also now been started in Indonesia, in Cambodia, and in Papua New Guinea. And we are supported by many organizations and universities and corporations throughout the world. And our work is to build sustainable communities and as a way of really addressing the problems of poverty, of climate change, and also food security. And our strategy basically is to transform urban slums to address also the problem of crime and poor health and also lack of education, but basically to focus on countryside development, to prevent migration of the poor in calamity and conflict areas to become informal settlers and create slums in the city.
When did you start that?
Well, I started this as a social experiment in December of 1995, and I stayed for 7 years in a slum community, the biggest slum community in Manila called Bagong Silang. And it was there where I learned about the life of the poorest of the poor, and I focused basically on studying the impact of poverty on the men. So I work with gang members, drug dealers, with criminals, and try to understand that poverty is basically a behavioral problem that has an economic consequence. But I built the first prototype of a sustainable community in 1999, and using the men to build homes and to build the toilets and to build the roads and the water systems. And I realized that when you transform the men and make them productive, you bring peace. And when they start to develop their self-respect, they start to look for work. So they even the poorest of the poor would be able to acquire a home, even if they have no money, if they are willing to work for it. So they give what you call labor sweat equity. And but they have to undergo also values formation and training on community building, as well as learning how to be honest, the value of hard work. And before they start to live in their community, we enter into agreement that there will be no habitual drunkenness, no drugs in the community. So we try to build sustainability by having values, and by also attracting the people who are also attracted who become the biggest problems. Because most poverty interventions focus on women, but our criminals are men, our drug dealers are men, our rebels are men. So if men are the problem, we realize they should also be part of the solution.
And it works now, really.
Yes.
So you started the transition, you understand, you develop new values, and it works. Really.
Yeah. Well, the transition is also changing our mentality. You know, that it's only women that we can work with. So we transitioned by also thinking that maybe there's a way of getting the men. So there's also this whole transition from the development that starts with people from the top, people who are educated, people who have expertise, who have technology. But a top-down approach does not always work, because we all speak over the heads of people, and we always consider the poor as a project. So I realized that we have to look at it from the bottom up. That's the transition. And then, so there is the top-down, but you have to have a simultaneous bottom-up. And so we bring people like me and my friends and people from the universities who have the education, who have expertise, who have technology. They should give the best to the least, so that the least can also become their best.
The best to the least, that's your argument.
Yes, the best to the least. So if we can give the best of ourselves for our jobs, we give the best of ourselves for a government position, why not give the best of ourselves also to the poor, so that there will be less criminals that will be a threat to society? So I realize it works. So we are also building good citizens in the bottom of the pyramid. But by doing that, we also build the infrastructure for bottom of the pyramid productivity. So when you realize that you can always create a win-win situation, when you get the rich and the poor to work together, that's a transition, because the rich should not only see the poor as object of charity. That's a transition of our mentality. We should think of the poor as an integral part of our economy, and so we have to build solidarity with them and also discover their genius, the genius of the poor, their potential for creativity and for productivity.
You say yesterday that we have in this planet rich countries and poor countries, but at the end, if we don't do anything right now, if we don't take action now, everybody's going to be poor.
Yes, we will all be poor. So then this is the funny situation, that we see a situation where poor countries are starting to rise and rich countries are starting to decline. And so it's important for us to realize that we can learn from one another. I come from a poor country, but our GDP just became the highest in Asia. And we have now the strongest currency and also the stock market. But investment is flowing, but it can just stay at the top, because in many instances, only a few families or a few corporations control the total economy, unless we find a way of bringing this, for this to trickle down. And oftentimes, it takes a long time for it to trickle down. So we have to have a simultaneous ground up, and that's why we started building communities. Now we're building social entrepreneurs, because they are the ones now with the expertise, with the knowledge. They come from business schools, management schools, but they will now come down to build relationship with farmers, with the blue-collar workers, and create social enterprises and create wealth that with justice, and go for inclusive growth. And I'm getting the children also of the rich to do this, so that they can bring people out of poverty, but at the same time sustain themselves. That is creating a win-win situation. We have to create shared value.
Thank you so much, Mr. Meloto. It's an honor to have you with us at this global. Have a good global conference.
Thank you so much, Roxane.
Thank you so much.